Hi, 7th graders. Today's Thursday, April 30th. We're at the end of our circulation, blood, and lymphatic system chapter, which is chapter 19 from our textbooks. Today I want to briefly talk to you a little bit about the lymphatic system. All right? The lymphatic system is basically a system that helps filter a lot of our tissues and the fluid in between the tissues called interstitial fluid, along with a couple of organs that help us do that. Many times you may feel a doctor, or the doctor may feel your glands and nodes and things like that. Well, lymph nodes are some of the organs that help filter some of the microorganisms that aren't good for our body out. And the doctor's feeling for any swelling in those lymph nodes, all right? People that have their tonsils out. Tonsils are another type of lymphatic system organ that helps clean things. And when your tonsils aren't acting properly, the doctor may remove them, okay? Behind me is our notes, 19.3, the fill-ins. You can take a look at those, all right? You can see lymph is just tissue fluid. You can pause these videos at any time to take a look at what I have here to see if what you did was correct. Okay, so don't ever hesitate to pause and see what's going on. All right. Understand that lymph, which is the fluid, contains these things called lymphocytes. And lymphocytes are just a type of white blood cell that helps your body to get rid of those microorganisms and disease-causing organisms that aren't good for us. All right? So lymphocytes is something that you should know. All right? That's important. It's a type of white blood cell. And the white blood cells actually have 3 kinds, and lymphocytes are one of them. All right? Lymph is moved by when our muscles contract. When we yawn, stretch, those type of things will help move the fluid throughout our body. There's no real vessels like arteries and veins or capillaries that the lymph moves through. It's just what we call interstitial fluid. It's between all of our cells and organs and things. Okay? There are some vessels that help keep the lymph from flowing backwards. All right, let me correct. The lymph does have vessels that they pass through, but the interstitial fluid is what's between all the cells and the organs. I don't think I made that clear a second ago. Okay, so there are lymph vessels, and when you stretch and yawn, those lymph vessels get compressed and squeezed, and that's what pushes your lymph throughout your body. All right? There are basically 4 organs that we use or we consider part of our lymphatic system. One, as I mentioned before, your tonsils. All right, number 2, they protect your body from harmful organisms. The first one are just simple lymph nodes, and they're located throughout your entire body. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but they are throughout your arms, your legs, your chest, your abdomen. They're all over, and they're bean-shaped, like little small bean-shaped organs, okay? And they filter the microorganisms out of your body. And we talked about tonsils. The next one is your thymus, okay? And your thymus is kind of located about right here, a little bit lower, but right in there, okay? And behind your sternum, which is kind of your breastplate right here, all right? So your thymus is kind of down there behind there. And your thymus is what makes those lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood cell, all right? So you need your thymus to help make these white blood cells to help your body fight the microorganisms. All right, and then the last one is your spleen, kind of located back behind your stomach, and that's going to filter some of the blood, damaged red blood cells from your bloodstream. It takes the bad blood cells, red blood cells out, so your body can make more. And if you remember, where are red blood cells made? In our bones, in the marrow inside of our bones, okay? Our bones make our red blood cells, one of the functions of our bones we talked about earlier, okay? And then the HIV virus, all right? The HIV virus that virus will cause the disease called AIDS, okay? And what that virus does, that HIV virus does, is it attacks lymphocytes and helper T cells. So when those helper T cells are attacked by the virus, they're not good. Those helper T cells help make antibodies that helps our body to defend against other organisms and pathogens and toxins that come into our body, okay? So if we have fewer helper T cells, right, because the lymphocytes are being destroyed by the HIV, we don't have any way to make the antibodies to fight the virus, and therefore we get the disease called AIDS, okay? The next paper I want to show you is Reinforcement 19.3. This diagram kind of shows where those 4 major organs are. Again, you can pause the video, take a look, zoom in or whatever. I can even do that for you. Okay. Zoom back out a little bit so we can see the whole TV. All right, and the questions. All right, number 5 is basically the function of the lymphatic system. We have 3 of them. You can see there. It drains fluid from the tissue cells, filters that fluid, and it also will help your body fight infections. Lymph nodes is number 6. Number 7, the role of the thymus. Thymus, like we talked about before, just makes the lymphocytes. Leukocytes are another type of white blood cell. Number 8, how is the spleen different than a lymph node? Well, they're like a lymph node and different from a lymph node. They're like a lymph because they're going to filter the impurities, but they're different because the lymph nodes will filter the lymph, and the spleen will filter the blood, take out the red blood cells, the dead, bad red blood cells that aren't helping you anymore. And then number 9 basically talks about how HIV will attack your cells, your helper T cells, and causes the problem. All right? So you can see it attacks and destroys the helper T cells. Helper T cells, which is a kind of lymphocyte, makes antibodies that will fight the infection. Antibodies are good. And with COVID-19, this is what we've been doing a lot of testing with. It was antibodies to see the people who may be infected but don't have as much of a reaction to COVID-19, their coronavirus, as others who do get sick. So we're looking for the antibodies that might help fight that virus. So antibodies are very important for us. All right? And then B, when the helper T cells are destroyed, there are less helper T cells, lymphocytes, to fight the infections. Therefore, pathogens and toxins get gone throughout your whole body, and you become quite sick, and you can develop the disease called AIDS. Okay? All right, so this was notes. 19.3 was the first one. Second page, which is up here now, was our reinforcement, REINF, as an abbreviation, 19.3. All right, take a look at these. You will have a Castle Learning project, questions, whatever you want, an assignment. And that'll come out later today. 10 questions, get that done, and we'll be all set to go. I hope you're well, stay healthy, and